Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about how to create a skincare routine using different products from The Ordinary. I actually had a comment on one of my previous videos from a subscriber called Linda. Hi Linda. And she asked a great question that gave me the idea to actually do a video on it. And basically what she was asking about is where to slot different things into her routine. She's been using a retinol, but she also wants to make sure that she's got enough hydration in her skin, and she didn't know where to put the hyaluronic acid in, and also she likes to use vitamin C and where she can slot that into her routine as well. So what I'm going to do today is talk about the various different actives. I'm going to cover acids, retinol and vitamin C, and if you are using all of them or a couple of them, how you can slot them into your routine so they don't work against each other. So I've tried different times to fit acid, retinol and vitamin C into my routine, and just from experience I've kind of found that all three tend to be a little bit too much for my skin. So generally I think that the best two to combine are retinol and vitamin C, and then sometimes I'll take a little break perhaps from the retinol and I will do a little bit of acid at night. But I find that generally when you're using them both, your skin should be exfoliated properly anyway. First of all, when it comes to retinol, I always like to use my retinol at night. So depending on how many nights you want to use your retinol, experts say that it is the most powerful anti-aging ingredient that you can use in skincare. So a lot of people recommend that the best way to use retinol is every night once you have built your tolerance up to it. That is really going to get it working in the skin, and with continued use it will show great signs on wrinkles and preventing them. So my process is save the night for retinol use. The other thing that you can do is you could alternate between retinol use and acid use alternative nights. That's something that I've tried in the past and it also works. So if you really are wanting to use your acid, say for instance you really want to have that salicylic acid in your routine because it works really well on clearing out your pores, or you just happen to love the effects that glycolic has on your skin, then you could work up to using it every other night, and that's the way that you would get those two products into your routine. Then when it comes to vitamin C, personally I prefer using vitamin C during the day. I have done a whole video on vitamin C, which I'll link up above, and in that video I talk about why you should use it during the day and why you should use it at night. So that's also a really good reference as to using vitamin C. Personally, I prefer to use it in the day because it doubles up as an antioxidant. So now we've got a method where we can perhaps use our retinol and our acid at night and our vitamin C during the day. There are many other ways that you can do this, and some people will say I would never do it that way, but this is just a way that I've found it to work in my routine, but it's definitely not the only way. The next is hydration. So say you are using your retinol at night and you want to know where to put hyaluronic acid in your routine. Now there's different ways of doing this. Personally, I think a really good way to do that would be to get out of the shower or having freshly cleansed your face in the evening so the skin is slightly damp or there's some moisture in the air from the shower so that there's moisture already there, and then apply the hyaluronic acid to your skin. I would just let that soak in until the skin has dried, and then I would apply my serum with retinol in it on top. So if you are using retinol, obviously you can't take it too close to the eyes, so you do need to use something else to treat the eye area before you apply the retinol. This could be some kind of serum, it could be a little bit of moisturizer, or it could be a dedicated eye cream. I love eye creams, but you can get away with using a light serum around the eye area because it won't be too heavy and weigh the delicate eye area down or cause any puffiness. I wouldn't recommend using a heavy moisturizer around the eyes. It's best to apply the eye cream or whatever it is you're using first, because if you apply the retinol first and then you put the eye product on, you run the risk of getting the retinol close to your eye, whether it's still on your hands or you kind of smudge it into your eye area, and that can cause some irritation. So treat your eye area first. This can be at the same time that you're doing your hyaluronic acid. I would personally do hyaluronic acid, treat the eyes, leave it a little bit, and then apply the retinol as your last step. During the day, when it comes to incorporating vitamin C and hyaluronic acid, I would take the same process where I would put the eye product on first, and then there's different ways that you can do this, and that depends on the type of vitamin C product you are using. For instance, if you are using the L-ascorbic acid powder that comes in its purest form, you can sometimes mix that with hyaluronic acid. It will work. So that would be the way of getting the hyaluronic acid and the vitamin C in your routine together. If you're mixing it with something like the resveratrol and ferulic acid serum from The Ordinary, then you might want to go in with your hyaluronic acid first, because that's a water-based serum and you need to put that on first because it might not get through that slightly. It hasn't actually got oil in it, but there's like some kind of texture of the ingredient that they add to the ferulic acid and resveratrol that I feel like a water-based serum might struggle to penetrate through. I would use the hyaluronic acid and treat the eye area first, and then go in with your vitamin C on top. If you think that you're in need of additional hydration, then there is the option to use something like the natural moisturizing factors, which is a moisturizer, but it's thicker and it can go over the top and it will lock everything in and give your skin that surface hydration. You might not just want to use hyaluronic acid, you might also want to cocktail a peptide such as matrixyl or use buffet from The Ordinary. Now, the rule that I generally follow, some people disagree with this, but my general rule is I work with the thinnest, runniest products first. So the water-based serums that are like water or like gels, I will put those on first, and then anything that's got a slightly more oily texture or a thicker, heavier texture, I will put on afterwards. So whether it's just that hyaluronic acid that you're using or you're cocktailing some other ingredients with it, I would use it in that order. Then the last step is again going back to the acids. If you're using your acids at night, you can apply your exfoliating acid and then put your hyaluronic acid on top. And just to clarify, hyaluronic acid is completely different from exfoliating acids. Hyaluronic acid is hydrating, and the other acids such as glycolic, lactic, salicylic, they're all exfoliating acids and they're nothing like hyaluronic acid. I hope that's helped break down the different actives that you get from a brand like The Ordinary and how you can cocktail them, layer them and combine them into a routine so that you can use them at different times so that they don't interfere with each other or give you unnecessary irritation. This is such a vast topic regarding skincare routines and the products from The Ordinary that it could go on and on and on. There's so many different ways to do it, but I've just broken it down into what I hope is the simplest way and how I would do it. Some of you might be watching and thinking, I would definitely not do it that way, and that's okay. I don't think that there's a specific way of doing it. There's some things that you should do and some things that you definitely shouldn't do, but I think that there's a grey area where you can kind of like, there's different rules that will still work and that are still okay. Everyone does things slightly differently, and that's perfectly okay. It's about finding a way that works for you and your skin specifically, but hopefully this has just broken it down and made it a little bit more digestible if you're not used to doing this. I imagine some of you will have loads of suggestions, or some of you might have additional questions. So if you have got a specific thing that you need me to help you with, just let me know in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible and help you out.